Hello YouTube, it's me Fuzzy Cow, and today I wanted to do something kind of different. In the Pokemon trading card game, there are two cards that give you massive card draw. The first one is N, the second one is Professor Sycamore. Both of these replace your hand, but do so in very different manners. N shuffles your hand into the deck, and it shuffles your opponents as well. And then you draw as many cards as you have prizes. The Professor Sycamore takes your hand, throws it in your discard pile, and allows you to draw 7 more cards. Now my question is, which one should you play in the mid-game? It's not necessarily clear in most cases. So I wanted to look at one specific example and see what the ramifications are. Now first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to use statistics. I wanted to use math. So what I did was I built a tree diagram. The tree diagram tells me whether the probability of getting one specific card or a number of specific cards is in my next hand. So what I did, for each step I take a draw. There's two options. I can either succeed, I can get a card that I want, or I could fail and get a card that I don't necessarily need. And because I have 7 cards off Sycamore, this is a very simple tree diagram. My tree diagram that I built for the project is much more complicated. Also, it's important to note that the probability for each success and each failure are not necessarily the same. For instance, if I have 3 cards in the deck and there's 14 cards total, then my probability of getting a success is 3 over 14. My probability of getting a second success would be 2 over 13. So as you can see, both those aren't the same. But this is a very simple case. This is something that you can kind of get started on and see if you can build it yourself. So now let's get into the problem. Here's the situation. I have a Miltank that's going to be able to put some major pressure on this Chandelure. I also have 2 Sycamores in hand and an N. As you can see, I can choose either. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a Miltank out, and I'm going to try to draw a water energy to make that Miltank able to knock out the Chandelure next turn. If I do that, I think I'll win. Now, should I play an N, which will give me fewer cards but less chances, or should I get a Sycamore, which will give me more opportunities to draw this N? That's the question. Now, the problem is further compounded by the fact that my opponent Skyless and grabs an N, which means after this play, I don't know if I'm going to get something. So now, again, should I play a Sycamore to try to get a water energy, or should I play an N? Now I looked through my deck, I sped that up, but I looked through my deck, and this is what I found. I found in my hand I had 1 N, in my hand I had 2 Sycamores, 1 Skyla, 0 water energy. Now I really want a water energy. In my deck I had 2 N, I had 2 Sycamore, 7 water energy, 0 Skyla, and 2 Versus Seeker. I would be happy if I have any of these cards in my hand, because that means that I'll have plays. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the consequences of playing an N and a Sycamore statistically and see which one I should play. It's also important to note that I have 4 prizes. I expect to take 2 more if I get my water energy, and my opponent has an N in hand. So let's look at all the scenarios. So first, I'm going to play a supporter. I have a 1 in 5 chance of getting a water energy off my draw, which means I shouldn't expect it, so I'll probably have to play a supporter. Now, as you can see the numbers, I have a pretty high chance of having something. Something means that I'll have either a supporter or a water energy in my hand after I play my supporter. This means that next turn I expect to have plays. But I really want that water energy, because if I get the water energy, I can knock out that Chandelure EX, take 2 prizes, have a Miltank ready to go. Everything's going to be great. So let's focus on that. As you can see, if I play a Sycamore, I have basically a 26% higher chance. I have a quarter extra of getting the card that I need if I play an N. So it looks like I should play a Sycamore, right? But let's say I whiff. Let's say I get nothing. More importantly, my opponent ends me because he has that N in hand. Then I have a 91% chance of getting a card that I want, a playable card, if I played an N previously, because both Sycamores get put back in my deck. And if I don't, I'll have a 67, which means I'll have a 2/3 chance of being able to make a play next turn. More importantly, though, I have a 60% chance, no matter what, of getting a water energy. So I can basically guarantee myself a water energy in 2 to 3 turns if I play an N, where I basically have to get it next turn if I get a Sycamore, or if I play Sycamore. So that's what happens. Another thing is, I was pretty ahead this game, but if I were playing from behind, my opponent would have an opportunity to end me again later in the game. And if he does that, will I have the gas to pull out? That's something else to consider. So if I succeed, if I get my water energy, I'm able to knock out Chandelure, I have 2 prizes. My opponent then plays an N. I have a 35% chance, if I played an N, of getting a card that I can use, a supporter. And I have a 25% chance if I played a Sycamore and my opponent ends me. So basically, long term, N is the better play. Short term, Sycamore clearly has a higher chance of getting you that water energy. That's the results that I came to find out. Let's see what happened. So here's the actual game. I actually did get the water energy off the draw, so this whole thing was kind of moot. I'm sorry if you're, but I decided to play a Sycamore. I got a lot of stuff, a lot of usable things. I was pretty happy with my hands. And then my opponent ends me because he again has that N in hand. And I gets basically, well, he's going to end me in a second. So I got what I needed. I feel pretty confident, but my opponent ends me and I get nothing. That's kind of what we expected. Please tell me in the comments what you thought about this video. Please tell me what you think about this kind of thing. I really want to know your opinion and whether you thought I should have played an N or should have played a Sycamore, or what you got from the math. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a good day.